All right. Okay. You have to stop the side talk and just follow along. Number 1. We went over, right? Which of the following has the most influence on the outcome of a congressional election? What's the answer?
Now we're out of order.
Is this wrong?
Yeah. It was quickly reported during election.
Pause. Okay, fixed it. Here we go. This is right?
Yeah.
Which of the following is most frequently reported in the media during a presidential election? What is it? Results of public opinion polls. Where is it? Is that up here? Oh, there it is. Of a candidate most likely to win. One thing I'm not going to do while I read this is check the box, because I don't want kids at home to be watching the video on mute and just like look at, you get what I'm saying? Yes. So I'm mostly just going to discuss it, so you got to kind of pay attention. I unpaused it. Yeah, it's going. There it is, okay. All right, number 2. Which of the following is true about PACs? What do you think? That's right. They make campaign contributions in hope of gaining access to Congress people. Take a little note. PACs equal make campaign contributions. So an oil company PAC will make contributions to Calvert so that he'll pass pro-oil company laws. All right, number 3. Is the speed I'm going okay? Yes. According to Madison, which of the following is the best thing to control factions? A larger public is correct. That means a large Congress with people from all over the country. I had like 4 kids today, and during this Saturday school tell me, these are a lot of repeated questions from stuff we've seen before. That's why this class gets easier and easier the longer you're in it. It builds upon itself. The topics are like reoccurring, and you know, no matter who you are or what type of student you are, the class should get easier as we go. So for all you looking to get out at Christmas, consider that. Okay. Number 4. All of the following are examples of linkage institution influencing policy. Means like the passing of laws, except which of these is not a linkage institution influencing policy? Let's see. Oh, right away. Right away, I see the answer, so I'm going to go out of order. It's the State of the Union because that has nothing to do. Does it have to do with elections? No. Does it have to do with media? No. Does it have to do with, what else? Parties? No. What am I missing? I forget which one I didn't say, but it has nothing to do with any of those things. The Sierra Club is an interest group. Oh, parties, maybe I didn't say. The Republican Party is a party. An expose, looks like it's missing a letter, on national media. So that's media. And then this is an election. So which one of these is not part of linkage institution? This is basically, do you know your linkage institutions? Right? Would you get this right? Do you know your linkage institutions? While you're taking notes, maybe right on the side, the acronym PIME, P-I-M-E. Parties, interest groups, media, elections. Things that connect us to our government. All right, easy question number 5. Who doesn't support Democrats anymore?
White Southerners.
White Southerners. Not going to stay here long because it's so easy. But before the 60s, they did support the Democratic Party. What happened that they stopped? Lyndon Johnson and a lot of civil rights laws and stuff. All right. Question 6. Which of these doesn't really make sense about parties in the last 100 years? Did they lose patronage power? They've done that sooner than the last 100 years. Or I guess that's correct, right? Or that did happen. And the increase in influence of PACs, yeah, that is true. So I'm looking for the false one. I remember this question from before, huh? Yeah. Splitting 2 parties into many parties has not happened. And probably never will happen in America because of the way our system is built. All right. Number 7. Considering all elections at all levels of government, which of the following best describes electoral behavior in the United States? Which of these is true about elections? Do young people have the most turnout? No. Does voter turnout play a small role in elections? No, it plays a big role. We saw Tuesday was a very different election because people did show up. Do primary elections tend to have a higher turnout than general? No. People participate less in primaries. Do voters with a strong party ID vote less? No. So that means the majority of the electorate does not vote in most elections. That's the answer. Most people don't vote in most elections. For me, it's E. What do you think it is? I'll tell you why. No. Like, when Trump was versus, like, the 20 other people, like, very few people participate. Maybe, like, 20% of California would vote in that, where, like, half of California votes in the other stuff. Yes, me right.
So when it says the electorate, it's not the electorate.
Yeah, let's talk about that because many people were confused about what that meant. Electorate means people that can vote. So the majority of people that can vote do not vote in most elections. Maybe that's a word that you just need to write down a little note about. Electorate means people that can vote. Was there any, did you want any more clarification on other answer choices, or are we good? Yeah.
What am I thinking about when it says that primaries hold, like, the more we talk about the more popular with the towns, like, the presidential election is more, like, mid-term.
We looked at the, so presidential is the most participation, midterms the second most, local and state and primaries is the third most. So it's like the lowest. It's the lowest on them. Yeah. What do people vote for the most? Presidential. All right, number 8. What's true about amicus curiae briefs? They are used by interest groups to lobby the courts. It's like a homework assignment, right, that interest groups do to try to influence a judge's opinion. They are used by interest groups to lobby the courts. It's like a homework assignment that interest groups do to, like, convince the judge of their opinion. Let's say there's some gun case in, like, Connecticut. The NRA sends in a little piece of writing and says, hey, judge, have you thought about these considerations? Have you looked at this case? They're trying to influence the judge. They don't fly there. They don't go become a lawyer for it. They just submit some homework and try to change the judge's mind. That's an amicus curiae brief. Number 9. Which of the following describes the organization of the two parties? I think this is one of those words, like, give me a word that describes their organization. Which one fits that? Separate and largely independent of each other. That's why Arnold Schwarzenegger is a Republican, but he's a very different Republican from, like, an Alabama Republican, right? Michaela, Tatum, you guys on task?
Yes.
You taking notes?
Yes.
You got the answers?
Yes.
Come on. I see you looking at clothes or something on that phone. Tatum's phone, that's Tatum. Yep. What's on your screen right now? Boots or something, I see it. Well, now you're throwing her under the bus. You remember the word on the study guide we used was decentralized. You remember that? Which also means independent. Spread out and independent. Number 10. Kind of a strange question. Why do delegates for the Democrat and Republican conventions more likely have a degree? A delegate is someone that shows up at that little party, at that speech, and they have the sign like, I'm from California and we vote this way. It says, why do they have more education than the rest of the population? Yeah, because activism increases with education levels. The more educated you are, the more activist you become. That's why college students go to protest and they get all involved. What's up? Sometimes, like, you see old people at rallies, and they got, like, PhDs and stuff. You know, like, it's kind of still related to their education. What you don't often see at protests is, like, people that didn't graduate high school, you know, that kind of thing. All right, number 11. Shh. Lobbyists try to influence Congress people mainly through what? Yeah. This is like a positive view of lobbying, right? You could have an essay that's like, what's good about lobbyists, and you can't be talking crap. Here's the answer. They provide legislators with information on technical issues. I'm going to do a little walkthrough, make sure you guys are taking notes. No boots. No boots anymore. All right. Anytime you see the phrase wall of separation, it's a synonym for what? Church and state. Division between church and state. That means you can't have teachers telling kids to pray in school and that kind of thing. Separation of church and state. I looked at the updated vote count for Sabrina. Now she's up by like 300 or something. That's what I heard. I looked at it last night. But I thought Bill was winning too. Somebody said Bill was winning. But that's not what I saw on the website. But they have a lot to count. Let me give you an example. I called the voter place and said, has my vote been counted? They were very annoyed with me. Because they're like, you're way too early. I called yesterday during 6th period. 6th period knows what happened. But they're like, no, we haven't counted your... So, like, I'm provisional. So all the provisional they haven't counted. So we may not know for a long time. They have to make sure that I'm not doing, like, voter fraud, basically. So yesterday during 6th period, I called the voter place, and apparently somehow that call went to, like, 911 or something, because... They came on the intercom and they're like, Mr. Robinson, are you dialing 911? I'm like, no. I'm calling. I looked at the phone number I dialed. It was not.
It happened to Mr. Knight.
Yeah, it happened to Mr. Knight. There must be something with our phone system that certain combinations of numbers goes to 911. But of course, it didn't have the numbers 911.
It's like 0119.
Yeah. Really? All right. All right, come back to me. Shh. Hey, poke your neighbor, tell him to come back to me. Okay. Hey, what class? Raise your hand if you did not learn about line item veto.
I learned about
Okay, I'm going to teach it from scratch right now. Here we go. All right. Oftentimes, state governors, so like we have a governor of California, sometimes they have the power of line item veto. Picture, they get a bill with the budget for the year. That's how they pass a budget. We haven't got to Congress yet, but Congress passes a budget, and it's got thousands of items. Money for school, money for freeway, money for lunch program, money for whatever, okay? Like health program. Thousands of items. Maybe in there is like money for abortion clinics. If a governor had the power of line item veto, they can sign the budget, but before they do, they could cross off like, I don't want to do money for school buses. We can save money. I don't want to do that abortion clinic money because I don't agree with abortions. I'm going to cross it off. And like the bill would still pass, but it would be minus those parts. That's the power of line item veto. State governors have this power. Some people want the president to have this power because it would help us save money. Because right now budgets are really, a lot of you guys are like, no. We gave the president this power in the 1990s, and it was very quickly taken away by the Supreme Court because they said, that's too much power, that's like taking away power from Congress. And I kind of get that, because Congress spends the money, the president just approves it. For him to be able to cross stuff off without their input is a little bit too much power. So which is true about line item veto? It's a power that oftentimes state governors have. There's a question there's a question, another question I think on this test or on your study guide about like why should that power exist, and it's to save money. So that like your state or the government could save money. Yes? Oh, another word for governor is gubernatorial. And you'll see that on one of these test questions. Remember, when I ask something on the study guide, it's like proof of why I do it, because you see that you need it on the test for something. We're going to get there. It's a question later. I feel like I have to yell with all these people. All right, 14. Shh. PACs representing this group have increased the most. Let's keep going. Business. Business has money. Who do PACs often not represent? Poor people. And you'll see that on another question. Number 15. Presidential elections and congressional elections are different in all of these ways except. So which of these is not true? Congress receives more national funding than presidential elections. I think right away that's the answer. Okay. Let me explain what that means. You remember I talked about how the president could get fund matching, like he raises so much money and then the government's like, we'll match it. It was like one day, one slide, but I didn't talk about it. I think I even drew on the board a bar graph and said like they'll match it. We don't do that for anybody else. So like we don't do it for Congress people. So national funding is that matching, and if we don't do that, then that's the answer because it's not true. Does that make sense? Do presidents do the fund matching today? Okay, if you said no, you remember that day, because I told you that if you do that, you're limited in what you can raise, and people are like, screw that, I'd rather raise my own money and be unlimited. You remember that conversation? Yes. You know that Congress has to raise 100% of their own money. They don't get any fund matching. That's what makes A incorrect. And since I'm looking for the wrong one, A is the wrong one. Yes? Yes, I guess so. If it helps you remember. 16 looks like a repeat in a way. What good thing do lobbyists do? It's not my C because they don't have a broad range of knowledge. They have an expert in their specific topic. So a lobbyist only knows about nuclear weapons or nuclear power. They don't know about everything. So they're experts in their field. And we know, think of for a FRQ, Congress doesn't know everything about everything. They need experts to come down because they don't know how nuclear power works. They don't know how we're supposed to dispose of nuclear waste, but an expert would, and they could come explain that. Do not tell me on an FRQ that lobbyists are bad. That's opinion. Just tell me what they do. Number 17. I can picture the study guide question. What is the concern about lobbyists influencing government? Former federal officials who gave up government work for interest groups? Yeah. That sounds good. Oh, I see. I saw C and I was confused, but that means at the same time. It's not at the same time. You can't work for the government and be a lobbyist, but you can retire from the government and be a lobbyist. So that's why B is the right answer. They gave up their job in government to become a lobbyist, and that's concerning because they know how the system works, and they like call their friends and say, pass this oil bill that I want to get passed. Okay, next. Number 18, the government can use all the following tools to encourage positive stories and constrain negative stories except, can they spin? Yes. Can they refuse to give important information? Yes. Can they close the leaks? Yes. Can they use the press corps to release favorable stuff? Yes. Can they revoke the licenses? No. Go back to Trump's Twitter and look at how many times he has threatened to revoke the license of like NBC, and everybody's like, you can't actually do that. And it's literally an AP Gov test question. Someone needs to have that boy take AP Gov. Yes? Yeah, because that would be like, I'm going to shut down CNN. Yeah. But the press pass thing too is borderline. That's why it's such a big deal, like, that it seems like they kind of exaggerated the charges as an excuse to get rid of him. Yes?
So is it the same as them saying that the media has to portray the same, like, different...
That went away though anyway. That doesn't exist anymore. It was like when I was a kid they had to do that, and then they got rid of it. I think we should bring it back. All right. Shh. Which of the following groups is least likely to be lobbying or have a PAC? Do you know what that means? You heard of the projects before? This is another word for the projects, public housing. And when you see the word public, think of that as like, focus. When you see the word public, think of that as like taxpayer-funded housing. So yeah, people from the projects don't have a political action committee. But do car makers? Yes. Do assembly line workers? Yes, they have a union. Do nurses? Yes, they have a union. Do environmentalists? Yes, they care about the environment. They make posters about the whales and all that. But poor people in the projects, no, they don't have a PAC. Number 20. Too fast? Okay, I'll slow up for a sec. Okay, all of the following are tactics used by interest groups except one of these things is something a party does. Nominating candidates. They can endorse, but that's different. They can say vote for Trump, but they don't get to nominate them. So they do lobby, they do appeal to opinion, they do contribute money, they do file lawsuits, aka litigation, but they don't nominate candidates. What's up? You good? All right, when you talk this much, I go faster. All right. Actually, I think I would take this sentence away. Which of the following statements about PACs is true? Who do they have a bigger impact on? Hard question. Who do PACs help more, Trump or Ken Calvert? Yeah, surprisingly, it's Ken Calvert. Because if they can, how much can they give? How much money? No, think about it. How much money? Not super PACs, but a regular PAC. What's the limit? Okay, if I give $5,000 to Calvert and $5,000 to Trump, who appreciates it more? Okay, does that help you understand why B is the answer? PACs make up a higher percentage of congressional funds than presidential funds. Now, if this question was super PACs, the answer would be different. Do you understand why? Because super PACs get unlimited donations and they often do make ads for the president more than like Calvert. Joseph, Ulysses, you guys on task? Okay. Yes? B, for me it's B. I hope as we go through this, you're not just memorizing. It's the one that starts with PAC spending. And you're not actually, I hope you're committing to memory the reasons why that's the answer. Maybe I'll change the wording. That'll prove it. You cold? You're right under the vent. This is the cold seats. All right, 22. Which of the following is true and not false about PACs? Do they rarely attempt to influence? No. Has it remained stable, the number? No. It's probably increased. Are they illegal? No. Do they give most of their money to challengers, not incumbents? No. They actually give most to incumbents. So, the amount of money they give is limited by law. We know that's true, $5,000. So E is the answer. The amount of money they give is limited.
Is it like C?
Yeah, the same but different. Same topic. For question 23, write on your paper, direct primaries led to. Direct primaries led to. This is my question. Who used to nominate candidates? You remember I talked about the old white men with whiskey in the back room? Parties, right? Now we nominate candidates. So it's asking you, what has changed? Are parties now weaker over nominations? Yes. Has there been less cost of campaigns? No, it's increased. So whatever answer won't have two. Has there been an increase in number of people involved in the choice of candidates? Yeah, from the back room with white boys and whiskey to all of America. Yeah, so whatever answer is going to have one and it's going to have three. Has there been an increase in voter turnout in midterm elections? No. So I'm looking for 1 and 3, which is letter E for me. I hope in your brain you play this slow process of elimination type thing that I just did. Do you do that? I hate the idea of like you just guessing. Make sure you're playing that game of process of elimination. Every time I look over there, you're on your phone, and I just hope you're taking notes. You're on the test? Are you taking notes? Okay. We're more than halfway through. 24. 24. Here we go. Another line item veto. Supporters. Some people want to give the power of line item to the president. What would they argue is a good reason why? That's right. We could reduce our deficit and spend less. I think everyone agrees our government spends too much money.
Yeah.
So it would help the government spend less money. But it's not in the Constitution, so we can't do it.
Control federal spending.
All I'm writing on my paper is President line item veto equals control federal spending. I'm not writing 20 words. $25 is similar to that like Roman numeral question. Because we've changed the way the president is nominated, what has been the impact? Has it become less democratic? No. Has the number of candidates willing to be able to seek nomination decreased? No. Has the number of female and minority group delegates? Yes. Kind of a dumb question. I don't know. I mean, it's not wrong. It's not wrong, but like the question. This question is probably 20 years old, so it's really in the past. Like there's like some wrong because when you see Democratic Party today, you think like really racially open. So I feel like it's outdated. Like, oh, what a change. All right. Shh. Question 26 is so super important to this class, and you're like I hope that everyone in here gets it right. Turn to your neighbor and tell them what's the answer to question 26. Go. Discuss.
On the Bill of Rights, most rights
You look so stressed. Look at you.
I want you to tell. Look at what letter is it. Hold on, don't yell it. In 5 seconds, we're going to yell at my letter. Which of my letter is it? Okay, don't yell it. Don't do it yet. Don't do it yet. I want to make sure everybody knows. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. What is it? E. Thank you. All right. So important. Every court case we've had in the last several months, it's like we made the Bill of Rights apply because of the 14th Amendment. Almost every case that's been presented, right? Including the one we just had, which was about the guy that broke into the bar and had no lawyer. We made the 6th Amendment apply because of the 14th Amendment. And lots of other cases too. All right, 27. I can picture the study guide question. Elections to the House of Reps provide what? Approximately equal representation for every voter. In other words, another way to phrase that is, in America, our districts, we try to size them the same size population-wise. Everyone understand how I mean by that? We try to draw, like every district in California should have a similar amount of people living inside of it. Then we all get one rep, so we all have like equal representation, roughly. Notice it says approximately. I can picture the study guide question. Interest groups try to make changes that are what? Big or small? Small, so we're going to look for narrow issues dealing with technical information. Small. Small, specific changes. Narrow issues. You understand narrow means small, yeah? I mean, similar, yeah, focused. Which of the following has the most influence on the outcome of a congressional race? No. There you go. It always comes down to this, incumbency. Ken Calvert, did Ken Calvert campaign at all? No. Did he spend any money besides some signs? No. It was about the fact that he was running again for a job he already had. He's going to win 95% of the time. America. Yes. Didn't have to campaign. Not like Beto, yeah. Yeah. Cruz campaigned way more than Calvert, though. But the Senate has a lower re-election rate than the House. Yes.
I saw something about Veto. Is it true he ran all the
Yeah, every, I don't know if you mean literally run, but
I have no idea.
he went to every district.
No, he did like a 10K.
Did he? That's crazy.
Insane.
I wonder if Cruz ran.
Like how pure can it get? How more pure can we get? Make him our president.
I made you guys fall in love with him, and then I broke your heart.
As soon as you showed that video, you did it every single time.
I know, I watched the video, I was like,
I know we're gonna like it.
I knew you were going to say that.
all right.
Oh, wait, I missed one.
Oh, this question's hard. I'll just tell you what it is. Wait, I don't think that's it. Let's see. There we go. There you go. I told you 30. I'm moving on. Then stop talking and I can talk about it. It's another outdated question, but you might know that the 80s the country became much more conservative, like Ronald Reagan and stuff. And the question's saying, like, did we have a realignment in the 80s? And the answer is no, because Republicans, they won the presidential election, but not really like the local stuff. This question really doesn't matter that much to me. Maybe it won't be on the real test, I don't know. Basically, another way to think about it is Ronald Reagan, he kept winning the presidency, but that success didn't translate to like Senate seats and that kind of thing. It's only realignment if you have more success outside the president. Yes. They worked together a lot more back then, though. Reagan passed like immigration, like pro-immigration laws. All right. Shh. Clear and present danger. What can you do if there's a clear and present danger? Can you mobilize the National Guard? You can limit free speech. Yeah. You can limit freedom of speech. You can't yell bomb on an airplane. That's limiting your freedom of speech, even if it makes perfect sense. And I'm okay with that. Another incumbency question. I'm looking for the answer myself. I just said this. I just said this. Who has a higher rate of re-election, House reps or senators? House. Because senators have to run in the whole state. That's a lot more publicity. A House rep, Calvert didn't even run, he just won. So incumbent senators are a little less likely to be re-elected than members of the House of Reps. Who had the graph FRQ last unit? That's what this graph showed. The Senate had a more like crazy, right? You remember that? Senate had a crazy re-election rate, the House did not. Yes. The question is there a reason why? I believe that because an election covers an entire state, it gets a lot more, there's a lot more publicity. Like Ted Cruz and Veto. That's a lot more publicity than like Julia Peacock had no publicity like whatsoever. She never stood a chance. But when you're running for Senate, it's like Senate is the biggest election down from the president. So you get a lot of attention, and people who are mad at Trump might vote another way. But like in your local race, Peacock could never, she's not going to get a TV interview, she's not going to have a commercial, so she didn't stand a chance. So Senate gets more publicity, and thus it's more competitive. All right, McCulloch v. Maryland. Is this the bank?
Yeah.
All right. And what's the answer? Remember that Maryland tried to tax the bank. You remember that?
Yeah.
So states cannot tax the federal government is the answer. States cannot tax the federal government. Huh? After this, we're going to catch up on our study guide, okay? And then we'll split apart the FRQ. I didn't do that. Some sub did it. Because it falls off. How are you finding the difficulty of this test without my guidance? It's okay? Remember that this is just some of the questions. The rest are on your study guide. We'll talk about which of the rest are on your study guide. Yes? I'm still deciding. I can't not give you the other questions. Portia is switching over to like only those questions. I'm like the graphy type. So I don't know. I think it's gonna be stay tuned for Thursday, Friday, when I give you, you know, part 3 or whatever. Like, that last one should be 20 minutes or something. Shouldn't be a big deal.
Yeah, and then
The short answer is yes. But that's a 2-hour class. I'm getting 20 minutes. All right, next.
to the party.
We get out so late this year at Christmas time that, like, we legit can do the whole unit after Thanksgiving and still finish it, I think, which is pretty crazy. Yeah, it does. I hate the late. All right. I gave you the answer. You got to pay attention.
Oh, no, I know. I was just making sure.
Okay. Nice save. Good save, Nico. All right. The advantages of incumbency include which of the following? Let's go one by one. Do incumbents receive more money? Yes. So it's going to include 1, which means that right away, I know that it's either C or D. Number 2, incumbents are able to provide important services for voters. It is true. Peacock didn't, I mean, let's say, I don't know. Peacock did come here and talk, but let's pretend she didn't. She didn't do anything for me, but Calvert gave me the constitutions. Calvert provided a service for me. Calvert got me permission to go on a tour of the White House. That is a true story. So Calvert does provide services, making me more likely to vote for him. So it's 1 and 2. I didn't even keep going. No, I mean, what if Obama was president? You think he'd endorse Ken Calvert? No. So it's not, it's like, it's going to go by party, the endorsement, not by president. It can be either one. But for me, it's always been the House. It's always been Calvert. Did that happen with you? They're saying no all the time now. Ever since Trump took over, they've been very stingy on the House tours.
What's it like in there?
It's cool. It's cool. Really? You just ran into her? I saw Miss Tisari, the secretary, and the mayor of Eastvale were like walking around the Capitol. Like, hey, what's up?
Hey, I know you.
That's cool. Okay. Hey. Shh. Rolf, you good? Your back is literally turned here. You good? Okay. Interest groups and political parties both promote democracy by linking. They're a linkage institution. Linking. They're allowing us to participate. Linking us to the political process. We're nearly done. 36 is a good one. I think we mostly know. Who draws the district boundaries? Oh, we do mostly know. Okay. If it's a slam dunk, you don't have to write it. If you're good, you can skip it. Okay, a lot of people were confused by this question because of this word. That is a real word, by the way, monies. Plural, it's an appropriate way to say money in the plural. It could have just been money, though. Okay, listen. Shh. When I say public monies, what I mean is taxpayer money. Remember public housing? Taxpayer housing? Public money is taxpayer money. Do we use taxpayer money to help governors run? No. To help congresspeople run? No. To help presidents run? Yes. Although they don't even say yes anymore. But if they did, they could. It's an outdated question. You probably won't see it on the big AP Gov test because nobody does it anymore. But they do have the option. This is an obvious one. When we gave the right to vote to a bunch of young people, what happened to the statistics? There was a lower rate of turnout because suddenly you added millions of people and a small percentage of them voted. I told one class this yesterday. It's a good time to say that the midterm election was record-breaking turnout for young people. But hold on. They went from 21% turnout to 31% turnout. That was the best it's been in 40 years for young people. Kind of sad, right? We could do better. We could change the whole country if young people turned out and voted. Yes. They were coming in? Where were you working? Oh, at the Eastvale. Oh, that makes me so happy. You're the only person, like my people that worked in Norco said they didn't see anybody, like not a lot of young people. Did anyone see my Twitter thing? I was trying to get my old students excited to vote. So, hello. You can go to Sandoval's and try to grab a chair.
I'm leaving right now.
Oh, okay. Perfect. All right. There is literally nothing that matters more to me than you guys voting and as soon as you leave my class for the rest of your life. I hope that you do that. I care more that you do that than you pass the AP Gov test.
Oh man.
They repaved. Where do you live? Oh, okay. Mine got my street got repaved also, but I live in North. Okay. Shh. All right. Shh. Is she still here? Is she leave? What is true about political parties? So what is true? I'm guessing this has to do with are people mostly Democrat, Republican, or Independent today? Is that part of the answer choice? I don't know. Okay, let's just look.
Yeah, it is.
Well, that's this then, right? People don't call themselves Democrat, Republican too much anymore. They mostly label themselves as independent. Sorry, I move around the dot so that people at home can't just look at where I put the dot. But the answer is A. People mostly identify as independent, not Democrat, Republican. And our very last question is an iron triangle question. I think one period I didn't even teach this to, maybe. Do you know the iron triangle? You should draw it on your paper instead of writing the words. It's the last question. You got room. All right. Shh. The iron triangle is it's a mutually beneficial relationship between, right here, presidential department, congressional committee. Another way to think of it is president, Congress, and interest group, but executive department, congressional committee, and interest group. This will make more sense 2 units from now when we've learned more about this, but for now, you need to know what the parts of the triangle are. They work with each other. Mutually beneficial. What happened to McKinsey? Oh, okay. Okay, that's fine.